Welcome back, everyone. It's the Aces AFL Show, and I'm joined by Mitch Wallace, Daisy Thomas, and we got special guests in the house once again for you all. There's plenty to talk about in the world of AFL. I was at the blockbuster Collingwood Geelong. We'll break down that game later. But, boys, it's great to see you. I love seeing you. It's going to take a week. We haven't spoken. We've saved all our juice for this. Well, what's been happening?
Big show, mate. It's been a big week in the Wallace household.
You look stuffed.
I'm exhausted.
I'm exhausted.
You even took your nice jacket off when you sat down, which you don't normally do.
Unfortunately, my dog has succumbed to an injury. We'll talk about injuries in the AFL world, but in the Wallace household, she's done her MCL, ACL and meniscus.
What sort of time frame we talking?
Time frame, well, we're going to doggy daycare hospital tomorrow.
It's 9 to 12 months, isn't it?
I think it is. No, it's about over 6 months, but the biggest thing
9 to 12,000.
Yeah, and the rest, mate. That's for the consultation fee.
Which that's just a little bit of pocket change out of the Lexus in the car, isn't it?
It's an inconvenience fee, to be honest. No, we'll get back on how I'm back. But anyway, there's that, and my daughter's got a toothache, which requires a bit of a with the wrench. So that's coming. That's coming this week. So we're doubled down.
I just thought, well, not going to the dentist, just doing it at a DIY.
No, this will be another dentist trip. But talking about expenses, they don't miss you either.
Anything else?
Anything else?
There's a work matter, I hear, but you can't talk about it.
No, we can't work it. There's things going on, but
if anyone sees
rewind it. It's been a great,
white.
It's been a cracking weekend, obviously, of football, and then a big one coming up. So this is the highlight of my week thus far, talking to you fine lads and getting stuck into a pretty big show.
I love it. Daisy, you've been everywhere. What have you been up to, mate? You're smirking over there. What
Don't worry about what I've been up to. My life was only going to go up after that Fremantle St Kilda game finished.
Oh, wow.
Mate. And it has. But I'm looking at the run sheet here, and usually it just says guest, and we're sort of been playing a little bit of, Travis Cloak would say, smoke and shadows behind the windows. Ollie Dempsey live chat with guest ?
Yes.
So not only have you gone and got Ollie Dempsey, who just took Mark of the Year, or so far, he's bringing a guest as well.
He's bringing a Hall of Famer, one of the best players to ever play the game.
My favourite player of all time, maybe. I don't know.
Danger?
He's in the category of GOAT.
The guests on this show have been unbelievable, so well done to you boys.
Thanks, mate. Thank you. Well, I won't thank you too much because we need to start with the propeller, boys. The Rokewood Grasshoppers, the boys would be flat. I was speaking to my man down there. We held our end of the bargain up. I don't know whether we would have got voided or not because the package was moved to the sub. He ended up kicking 3. But we went tick, but you two boys just went down. But while going down in the first leg, really just ruined the whole momentum.
Real dampener on the momentum.
Stiff. I watched that game and I thought, geez, you're actually very unlucky.
Well, he's in goal-kicking form. So I did my research. He kicked 7 goals in the previous 5 outings. So in rare form, he had a great game, Matt Kennedy, but missed the sitter and then wasn't hungry enough. He wasn't hungry enough. Riley West went down with what looked like a season-ending knee injury to only get up, not to look in the goal square where he was by himself. So, look, disappointing. But we go again.
We do.
We reload. We do more research.
Hey, they kicked 20 goals, though. You're on the money with the game.
Mate,
You're on the money.
And I think there was 16 individual goal kickers. So pull your finger out, Matty.
Petrarca had the first goal of the match within a couple of minutes. I was sitting out, he's got 118 minutes to find one more snaggy puss. Incorrecto. Come on, Petrarca.
You kicked it well behind. Yeah, you stiff. Well, we're going to go again. And as you know, boys, the graveyard, it wasn't the baddest of beats going 2 from 4, but to Rokewood Corondap Football Netball Club, the Grasshoppers, I will put you on there. And you'll go into the draw later in the year if we can't get this underway. While I'm doing this, boys, elbows back for another 3 years. Some MPs go the early crow. Well, break down that for us.
What about the timing to get to the graveyard?
Tommy just asked me who elbow was and what does 3 years mean. But yes, we do have another term for the Albanese government. The Labor's got in and they absolutely shit it in by the end of it.
Let's straighten up and let's talk about last week. There's plenty to break down before we go to our special guest, Ollie Dempsey and the GOAT, and we'll find out who that is in a second. Boys, did you catch, I know me and Daisy watched the game. Well, did you catch Geelong Collingwood in what was one of the best games of the year?
Fantastic. And there was subplots throughout the whole night. And we talk about how the way that it finished, obviously with Chris having shot after the siren, but there were so many heroic efforts within the game. And it'd be great to talk to Ollie and about how his experiences out in the ground were. But just a really good showcasing of the football game. Again, prime time, Saturday night. I love sitting back and watching it.
What about Danger, Wall?
Talking about, we love the players on this show, the AFL Aces AFL Show, and he has wound back the clock. Like, he's got eight All-Australian Blazers, I think.
Yep.
And they're nearly measuring up a ninth in my eyes. He's kicking 2 goals a game. I'm averaging 17 disposals. But I think what's more than that is his influence. His influence on the game. You talk about being a captain and standing up in the big moments. Like that goal from outside 50, he shouldn't be doing that at his age. And then
You shouldn't.
then busting through every pack and getting all those ground balls into that contested nut. Let's put him up there. We talk about GOAT conversations. He's definitely knocking on that door.
I'm pretty sure Craig McRae, I'm pretty sure it was him that referenced the fact that he looked like Jonah Lomu.
I think it was his own coach
Was
that
it?
said it. Yeah, I was just about to search it on 7AFL. I'm pretty sure he did. He said he looks like that bloke out there. I had to look at who that was and watch his highlights. Yeah. He is an animal.
He was the big boy. What position did he play?
Oh, I don't know, but he's played rugby for New Zealand and he looks scary. Have you seen, just quietly while you're on that, while Daisy Fonz, have you seen this run it where one bloke runs at another bloke with a rugby ball?
That ain't it.
Is that
absurd?
How much money would you have to be paid to just run at one of the champions of run it just once and see
One of the
if you can-
champions? If I
Yeah.
could pick,
Do
if
I
I
have
could pick
to
the
tackle him
opposing,
or
yeah.
You've got to have the ball and he tackles you, or you've got to tackle him, but you've got to have a crack to
You've
get
got
your
to run
money.
it straight.
I must admit, I'd rather have the ball because if you get my clavicles and my shoulders will just
man.
blow up and collapse.
I was watching some of these videos late at night. I was thinking, yeah, exactly what you said, shoulders. And if their head goes on, there's the big
Jonah.
Big Jonah. He's a bad man. Imagine him
Real
running it
bad
straight
man.
at you. What about, we're going to talk about Ollie Dempsey's hanger to him live, but that was, I just thought, we've had Steele Sidebottom on last week. And then the great man, we're trying to get him a contract. You can't be standing there he's standing there like a stepladder with the guy that's going to take Mark of the Year for the next 5 years. Oh, that was a sitting duck.
When you watch the replay, you see Sidey look at the ball, look who's behind him and just go, you had the full Statue of Liberty. Oh, well, I'm trying to spoil it.
There's a great one, and I reckon it's one of the marks of the century. Gary Moorcroft on Brad Johnson, and he had the full archback, which was again plastered over everything of multimedia
That's
for the
my
year.
favourite mark of all time.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, because there's another one actually. My old man, we're going back 30 years ago now.
Took one.
No, Wayne Carey sat on his shoulders and kneed him in the back of the head. He was concussed after it. And that was the AFL's logo for the next 12 months. So every time they introduced any round of footy, Steve had his head down and, good memory. Good
Gary
memory of that.
Burt, who Gary Ablett Sr. took Mark of the Century on, I think it was, were probably not even a mark in the modern game. Cameron Wood at every Mad Monday that he was at would just start jumping on his shoulders. And his career was cut short shortly after.
Delisted.
Press the button. I want you to get him up. Send the boy the link.
Well, guess what, boys? It is time. While we're talking about the Pies going down to the Cats, we have the most exciting cat on the line. It's Ollie Dempsey. G'day, mate. How are you?
What's going on, fellas? Playing a bit of golf on the par 3 course out here down in Geelong.
Who are you playing golf with? I've heard you with the little master.
The little master Gaz, he's down here. And he's
That's amazing. Who's hitting him better at the moment?
Oh, Gaz is definitely.
I've got the lead, boys. I'm about 5 shots up, 4 holes in.
Gaz,
Quality golf.
It's too good.
Gaz used to live next door to me for a minute, and I had a barbecue one night when I was renting the back unit. And one of my mates is a bald-headed bloke. He walks down to the driveway, goes, I reckon I just saw Gary Ablett Jr. in the front of that house. I said, mate, piss off. You just seen your reflection. I text Gaz and go, you live in this address? He goes, yeah, that's me.
That's brilliant. Now, boys, while we're going to talk about the footy, but can we get a swing? Are you guys ready to hit the ball yet? When are you waiting for a group?
No, well, we actually are waiting for a group. At the minute, unfortunately, they're just ahead of us. But
All right, we'll get into a
30
bit of
seconds.
footy, mate. Let's break down the blockbuster on the weekend. Geez, what was going through your head when Jack Crisp was having a shot after the siren?
Yeah, it was no good. I thought he for sure was going to kick that. It was going to be the fairy tale ending. No good. I don't know how we made it that close, but it was good theatre for sure.
Yeah. Now, actually, where were you on the ground? That's the most interesting point because I remember back in a bit of history, we played Geelong. The Doggies played Geelong back in 2017 or 18, and Harry Taylor was lining up to after the siren, and he missed it as well. And that was a game that we had 18 players, even the bench on the mark, and post that game was outlawed. So where were you on the ground when it went through?
You can only have the one standing on the mark these days. So I was sitting in the goal scorer actually, and I was just hoping. I knew that you can't do anything if he kicks it, so just hoping that he went left, and he luckily pulled it.
Wasn't the first time you found yourself in that goal square. Just a nice little dangly over old sidey. That was like park footy, brother. Stengel gets it, puts it on his head. We saw it coming a mile away. And we're like, oh, it was a pretty good mark. One little bit of advice. You've got to land on your backside.
It would have made it a bit better, wouldn't it? I actually saw the vision of you and Stevie J in the box getting up before Tyson even kicked it. I watched that back. I'm like, that's hilarious. It was like you guys were already up and about before he even kicked it, so you knew it was coming.
You've flown for a few. Is that the best one you've taken so far? And if that is, where's that sort of sit on the benchmark? About halfway? Because the rumours are you've launched a couple and nearly headbutted the rings of Saturn.
Yeah, it wasn't one of my best. I was happy with it, but I'll definitely get a better one coming soon. I've dropped a few ones that would have been very nice. I remember Paddy came straight after. He's like, "You're taking me to Europe with those points." I'm like, "I'm not winning it off that mark," but it would be nice to take a good one day soon.
Hang on. Danger, who's been on $6 billion for the last 38 years, wants to scrap your points and take himself to Europe.
Exactly, yeah, I know. That's what I said to him. I'm like, you don't need anyone to pay for you, mate. It's fine.
Ollie, I've got you used to get a car. Now you get, I think, $5,000, a pie warmer, and a year worth of meat pies. Would you love to just send a message to the AFL and just say, bring the cars back out so you can get a little bit more cash if you do sell it?
Oh, I thought it was. I thought last year it was $50K and $2 million freak at 5 points.
Well, actually, you know what? I might be on Wikipedia here and I might be outdated.
One of them's 50K.
Is it 50K?
Yeah, I think they're both
50K, yeah.
That's unbelievable.
I think it's
Mark and
$2 million
Goldie.
freak at 5 points.
Well, that's
well,
almost.
in that case, you can take me, Danger, Wall, and Train, and we'll all go.
We're all going. And I'll set the itinerary up.
we'll
It'd be
go
fantastic. Now, Ollie, let's talk a little bit about your individual game. Obviously, the marks and the high-flying stuff's great, but you've taken your game to a new level this year. In terms of someone that you model your game off or where you want to take your game, have you sat down with a coach or a player and spoken through where you want to get to?
Yeah, I think the way I play the wing is a bit different to most, and I think Scotty and Kingy give me the license to sort of get forward a bit more than most. And as being a natural forward, I sort of am able to just back my instincts, and they let me do that. So it's weird because I don't really model my game with anyone because I don't think I play it like anyone on the wing. But I'm just learning off all types of guys. Like even Jez, he's taught me heaps. He's a really good mate of mine. And obviously he's a star of the game and just learning off him. And obviously Gaz teaches me a lot as well, hanging out with him, Beat. So, I got a lot of good mentors who can teach me a lot of stuff, which is nice.
It's fantastic to be able to play with that freedom as well. And I think you've shown enough that you can make it your own. So, look, that's exciting for Cats fan and AFL fans across the comp that Ollie Dempsey owns a wing and does it his own way.
Well said, Well. And
What's the best advice the little master's given you?
The best advice the little master's give me. He keeps saying that, like everyone says it, that your career is short and it goes quickly. And I always been like, oh, you're just saying that because you're old. But realistically, I'm 4 years deep, and I'm like, it has not been 4 years. It feels like it's been a couple months. So I'm just taking life and enjoying it. And that's the main thing I've learned from Gaz and being able to hang out with him and learn a lot off him, which has been so good, just about life and outside of footy, to be honest, which is the best part about it.
I love that, mate. And I've heard Gaz has taught you a few things on the golf course. Can we get a video of Gaz's swing? I'd imagine you guys are up soon. We've held you up on the golf course for a while.
I'll let Gaz a video me for my swing.
Oh, I love that.
Okay.
You're up. Here we go.
Hey, what do you got in your hand, Ollie?
What club have you got, mate?
Got a 56. I'm a bit nervous here for this one, but
Hey, Gaz, talk us through it. Just give us a little bit of Dotty Pepper on course.
He's got a very nice swing. I'm predicting it's going on the green. That's the worst shot he's played all day.
All right, Gaz, it's your turn.
It's up there. It's up there. Gaz has been schooling us all day. He's 4 under through 5 holes, so he's smacking up.
Give us a look at Gaz's swing. We want to see the little master at work.
No, he just does it behind closed doors. He's got too good of a swing. He doesn't want to let people
He's refusing to show it, and for good reason.
That's great.
Now, last one from me, Ollie. I spoke about it off the top of the show about Danger and what he's doing. You talk about your career being 4 years long. It's been 40 years long. It looks like it's going for another 10. Talk to us about him and where he's going, because some of his efforts on the weekend, but even this year in general, it looks like they're starting to measure him up for a 9th All-Australian Blazer. But who's that in the background? Who was that?
Oh, it's a big Nathan Spicer, a good mate of mine.
The Spice.
A big Spice.
Herbs, have a look at the pipes on
that's
the
a big
side.
boy.
Jesus
He's
Christ.
choking that.
He just
bloody-
hit a hole
he's
in one
choking
with
that stick. But back to that question, more about Danger and what he's doing and just his influence this year has been as good as any.
100%. Yeah, it's amazing to see. It's so inspiring, especially for us young blokes to see the guy who's 35 and it seems like the top of his game. And it's weird to say that because he's won a Brownlow and he's just such a gun, Danger. And the way he plays his footy and just leads by example, it's just amazing. He needs to work on his goal celebrations, that's for sure. They're pretty, he doesn't give much. We've been telling him that, but it's so good for him to have an asset like that. Yeah, in the forward line, which is amazing to say.
Has he been running around at training calling himself Godra? And do you know who Modra is, if so?
The funny thing about that, he actually has, and I didn't know who Modra was. I remember Eddie Betts was working for us in my first year, and I was taking a couple of these, I was flying for a lot of these marks, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to start calling you Modra," and I'm like, "Modra?" I didn't know who Modra was.
Come on.
Go to school, Ollie.
I was like, "What are you talking about, Eddie?" And then, yeah, Danger's really taking it on board. He refers to himself all pre-season as Modra, and then, to be fair, he's lived up to it. He's playing good footy, and it's amazing to see.
He certainly is. Well, mate, all the best this weekend. Thanks so much for joining us on your day off while you're with the little master and your mates playing golf. Just one more. The Giants, they've had you measure the last 2 times down there at the Cattery. You guys are flying. They're not. This will be a blockbuster game, I think. What are you expecting? Obviously, the Jezza Cameron Cup.
Yes, it'll be a big game. They always play well down at GMHBA, which we were aware of. It's just another game for us, and we're excited to take on them. And they're such a good side, got a lot of talent, and definitely Jeremy Cameron Cup. Hopefully he kicks 6. That'd be nice. I'll be feeding him for sure.
Oh, I love that. That's what I said last week, but you didn't even need him in the end. Well, that's all I got, boys. Thanks so much for joining us, mate.
Thanks, Ollie. You're a
Thank
star,
you
mate.
so much, and keep up the good work, brother.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys.
Cheers, mate. Oh, boys, there you go. The little master was the guest. Now,
Hang on now. So if we get the bloke who's just taken mark of the year, last week we had Sidey, who was the best player on the ground in Anzac Day and playing the best football of all time. We had Libber and Bradley Hill with the talking point of the week, and now we've gone and got Ollie Dempsey featuring the GOAT. What sort of contact list are you blokes?
What kind of pool have we got? This is
Well,
very
there's
impressive.
Well, we just thought these are working well. People are writing in, and we love everyone that's subscribing and getting around us in the DMs and saying, "Boys, more interviews." And I tell you what, it's not going to stop there. We've got one more coming later. I thought we got
Today.
to
Double down. Let's do it.
That's not on the run sheet.
I've left it out of the run. Do you want me to tell you who it is? Or you want me to surprise you later on?
No, tell me.
Yeah, tell me.
Jack Crisp will be joining us.
Oh,
We're going to
the
get
record
Crispy on the
breaker.
line. We're going to get the record breaker. And he's going to break down that kick and what was going through his head.
Is it
and
weird
also
that we're
the
still
week.
you calling him the record breaker when he's the goal misser?
Oh, yeah, can't be
No, record
saying
breaker.
that.
I'm taking the piss. I'm taking the piss. Should have kicked it though.
Oh,
Cost
boy.
your side
Well,
a
let's
win.
get to last week before we keep going. Bailey Smith will be someone that we want on the show, and I reckon Wal is the man to do it. Wal, there's a little bit of war of words with former teammates, and I'm loving it. Have you spoken to Bailey about this?
I haven't spoken to him directly about that. I think it's just trying to let it digest a little bit because there have been a bit of to and froing. I think Bevo weighed in yesterday.
And the Bont.
And the Bont.
Out the front of his new
Straight
cafe,
in
which
the
is great
Arthurs.
publicity. Arthur's, give it a shout out.
Give it a shout out
Love
out
small
in
business.
Kew. No, interesting. And look, he definitely flies by the seat of his pants, Bailey, and says what he thinks. And it doesn't really, there's no filter as Bevo would say it. But again, we always say he's backing it up. Like his performance on the weekend, again, really, really first class. So if he can continue to play that way, I am looking forward to the round 11 clash. I'm not the only one. I know the whole footy world they're going to have their eyes on the Bulldogs versus Geelong or the Bulldogs versus Bailey Smith featuring Geelong. But yeah, let's just wait and see. There's more to play out in this space. And I know some of the punters have tipped Libber to be the one that's going to be enforcing it. And I would back him in any day of the week to start something up.
It was weird in the lead up that we talked about that Mars game and how we know Ballarat for Sovereign Hill. I reckon there would have been more people at Sovereign Hill than there were at that game on the weekend. I reckon there was construction works going on one side. They're either looking for gold or putting up a new stand.
And it was blowing an absolute Chris Gale. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
There's no ability for the people on the outer to be there. So what are the dogs getting out of it?
Nah, so they're
Federal government cash.
They are getting some cash, but they're redeveloping it. So the
but
Eddie
play when
Richards Eddie Richards pocket, where he kicked that miraculous goal. I'm not sure if you guys were tuning into the
That
game.
was leftwood checking.
They're I think they're about 12 to 18 months away from opening up a new stand in that area.
So they should have been playing in 12 to 18 months.
Well, the
Just ask Bailey.
MCG were building the new stands and they played for a while. Sometimes
you still got a capacity of 60,000.
there was a few comments. People down there love it. It's like
Do they?
the
No, they
biggest
do.
day
I've
of
been
the
there when
year.
it's been full though. The hill's full and
Yeah.
it starts to sway late in the
They're in
day.
a transition period. We'll give them that. And they've been a great supporter of the club.
Port would have been loving the fact they were in a transition period.
Oh, they certainly,
Why do
they
Melbourne-
certainly were in the first half. I don't know what they were doing in the second half. I had doggies 1 to 39 on the points bet app, and geez, was I wrong? They got beat by 90. That's an absolute flogging. And I think Port are okay. They're in the abyss on your thing, I think. But I mean, we've got the showdown coming up this week. They'd want to respond because 90 points. It's that or the dogs are flying.
Yeah, but this is this, and look, we're going to go into. It's my must watch the showdown this week, but it's the second time this year they've been beaten by 90 points.
It's a lot of
So
points.
round one against Collingwood, they got absolutely thrashed, but then responded the week later with a 72-point thumping of Richmond. So look, it's not dead out of the water. They've responded once, they can do it again, but this yo-yo up and down, it's just no good for a supporter. But any consistency in trying to make you play for finals.
Now, there's just some teams you can't trust at the moment, and unfortunately, my boys, the Dockers, Daisy, unfortunately, you had to commentate that game. I don't know what goes through your head when that game was on. I said last week that they were the lock of the year. I embarrassed myself. I've got Melbourne right, so I'm 1 from 2. But that was as disappointing as I've been as a fan. And I couldn't work out why. Clearly, you know what's coming. You know Ross is going to make it an absolute scrap. He's fired his troops up. I thought the Dockers were hanging in there early. You know, they were on the back foot a little bit, but they were all tackling. And in the end, they just broke them open, but split them open to, 60 points? It was, and after Melbourne beating Freo down here in Victoria, I thought this will be the game that Freo, just says we are top 4. So I can't, at the moment, you can't trust them. You can't trust Carlton and Port Adelaide. They're the 3 teams at the moment you can't trust. What are your takes on those 3 teams? Because it really is, it's killing me because one week they got the Pies this week, they'll probably smack them, and it's like, why can't we be consistent? That's what's killing me.
The consistency is the issue because I think we'll see this year, even the good sides, and the Giants are one of those. They're sort of having a 3-week lull. They've done that the past couple of seasons. They've had twice in each season they've gone on a 3-game losing streak and then been able to rectify it. But Fremantle was the way they lost and the planning coming in. So I was looking at the numbers, and you asked me how I got through the game. It was knowing that the under 171.5 was going to salute about 5 minutes into it. That's how I got through it, Tony. But Fremantle were the lowest play on percentage side the week before at under 10%. They were number 2 rated for kicking the ball long to contest. So if you're a Ross Lyon, you're sitting there going, hang on a minute. They don't play on and they kick it. Okay, let's man the mark and make them kick it to us, and then we'll just out-hunt them. Then you can tag the Brayshaws and the Sarongs who had season-low numbers. I don't know what JL was thinking, because this was happening for the first quarter, and then we're like, sure, in the second quarter this is going to change. Didn't change. Quarter didn't change, and then into the last quarter. And then the Saints, who were only just scoring, like it was about a 30-odd point margin, you thought maybe if Freya get a couple of quick ones here, she's back on. Incorrect. And the numbers, what is it, plus 47 St Kilda were in contested prune, plus 27 inside 50, plus 28 clearance, plus 27 short kicks, plus 25 uncontested marks, plus 11 marks inside forward 50, and plus 38 ground ball gets. That's the biggest differential Fremantle's ever conceded in that stat in the history of the football club.
Yeah, I've never been more frustrated. I think that was one of the
horrible.
hardest games I've ever. I watched every single second of it, and I was just, it made me angry.
Yeah.
Just because I was like, this isn't it.
But so
And also, I St Kilda, if that's St Kilda now, they're missing a little bit. That they have maximised everything they've got out there. It's like
you put those
Fremantle's
names
got
head to head on paper
Yeah.
and just go talent, you win the spot. I reckon Fremantle should have probably won at least 18 spots.
It's Fremantle. Like Ross Lyon, he coached me when I was there. He coached probably half the boys that were there. JL, you've taken the reins after this guy as coach. You know what you're coming up against.
So was it poor coaching or poor performance?
I've got to put it down to both because you knew that Sarong and Brayshaw were going to get attention. I must say, Hayden Young going down definitely hurt. Like he was the guy that I thought was, how are you going to stop Hayden Young? And he was looking dangerous early. But then it was like when you move the magnets, I think Luke Jackson went on ball in the fourth quarter. I went, that's the magnet change?
Well,
surely it's
in the fourth quarter.
Surely it's Bolton on ball. Surely it's because he can't get going at the moment.
Or Bolton out of the goal square and just kick Torps in there.
Put Brennan Cox forward. Like just do something when you're down by 4 goals, but you've only kicked 2 in the third quarter. You might as well just swap the whole team around just to get something going at 3/4 times. I don't know. I was just frustrated. Yeah, you're right. I think coaching, they definitely outcoached that for mine.
Yeah, but then you talk about the performance point of view. There wasn't one player on their side, and I'm looking through the stats as well, that really put their hand up.
Alex Pearce was good, I thought, as captain.
Yeah, but again, out of necessity because the ball was down there.
But he was actually breaking a bit of lines and trying to take the game on as a fullback. It's like, where's the halfbacks at? It was crazy.
But for a player like Jack McRae, and again, we talk about our appreciations. We love the players on our pod. 38 touches.
Amazing.
Mate, he had career best in clearances, contested possession. Like this is a guy that we know what he's going to deliver. So why not go and stand beside him? He's going to lead you to the ball. That's where you look at the maturity of Brayshaw and Sarong. If it's not going your way, do something about it. Go and stand next to the major ball winner of the opposition because he's going to lead you to the ball and just stem the flow because you read through some of the stats before. It was a monumental loss. And you talk about what that does to the psyche. They got a big game this week, Freo, and far out they need to bounce back because that was so disappointing.
Well, on the game this week, so Collingwood choosing to rest a lot of the older boys, Pendles, Mychek, Maynard, and then, Mychek's got a slight abdominal issue. And then you chuck in DeGoey as well, I should say. This now for Fremantle is a lose-lose because if they lose, they're getting beaten by an undermanned side. And if they win, well, people are going, well, it's an undermanned side, so you should have won anyway.
Yeah.
This becomes a real pickle, and you'd have to be tipping the Pies on form because they've been consistent, a few outs, yes, but I don't know. You just
Freo were $2.60 into $1.80 once that news come out. So they're going into favourites. And you know what teams are like after when they get smacked. And they are at home. There's something about this. It's a bit like the Suns. They just love home. They struggle away.
Well, the good news is they'll be fresh because they didn't do anything last week.
And
they didn't run, they didn't chase.
Shorter break for Collingwood too. So, look, there's so many factors, but then
as
backs against your wall. Oh, God.
They should be winning.
Is it a lock?
Tommy, declare it.
I am going to tip Fremantle 1-39 and under probably 100. That's how they're playing. It's the ugliest football. It is disgusting.
You can't win a final or a premiership playing the way they are.
I've said that to my friend Zach Dawson for years. He loves defence. I hate it. I think you need to play attacking football with defence. But I think if you're not scoring, they can't score 100 points. You're not going to be there grand final day. I'm not saying every week, but you need to be able to score. And the way that the game's going at the moment, look, the over-under is 160. So if it's an early battle, you think it's going to go unders again. Anyway, one more thing, the transparency rule, boys. Have you heard about this? It's just come out.
I'm somewhat across it. So I assume this is on the back of mainly Geelong.
Yeah, I think it is with the late changes and everything else. Accept the feedback and act on it, and they changed the TBC to 3 or 4 weeks. So there are... Our man Ollie and his boys are taking the piss.
Is it warnings?
The AFL has today issued a sternly worded memo to clubs to remind them of their requirements to provide up-to-date and transparent injury lists. Let's see if this has an impact on clubs' release by the 5 p.m. deadline this Arvo.
So a memorandum has been released. Yeah. So there's no literature written into the law book or anything yet.
No, it doesn't look like. And then there's also WA versus Victoria State of Origin planned for February, reports Caroline Wilson. Caro's arrow.
She said that last night, old Caro, which is exciting. We were she put it to us.
In February, it's exciting?
I think if everyone takes it seriously. And from all reports, when the captains were asked about it, they said yes.
Why wouldn't you put it in the middle of the year then?
Because then you're
1,000 reasons we said, risk.
Same thing, isn't it? One game.
Tommy, take it up with the AFL, mate.
I'm just saying. Anyway, let's keep moving. Oh, here we go, boys. Let's break this chat up and let's go to the game's record holder in Jack Crisp, who joins us live from Western Australia. Crispy, how are you, mate?
I'm good, going well. Just marinating my room this morning, but yeah, going well.
Oh, beautiful. There's not much to do in Perth. What's the weather doing over there? Surely the sun's out. It's a bit rainy down here. You haven't missed much?
Yeah, no, it's 20 degrees at the moment. I think it's going to be 25 later when we go for a little kick around at Optus Stadium, and then it's going to be 30 tomorrow when we play.
We were just having a yarn, mate, and it was coincident that you are in Perth, that there's talk of the State of Origin being played next February, Victoria taking on West Australia in the AFL. Would you want to play?
Oh, I'd definitely play, but I probably won't get picked, so it's probably irrelevant to me.
I think you're being a bit harsh, mate. You're being a bit harsh. You'd be the first one picked. They need durability.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I won't be getting rested in pre-season still, so I might be ready to go.
Now, mate, let's talk about last week. It is the script writers. It's almost the best script we've ever seen. We'll talk about the end of the game later, but talk to us about the week. You handle all this stuff quite well. You're the king of content. Nothing really phases you, but how was it? Was it quite overwhelming, all the messages and everyone kind of shining the light on you?
Yeah, definitely. No, it definitely was. Considering because it was big, probably 2 weeks you could say, equaling the Great Gym on Anzac Day was pretty surreal in itself. So I had a few messages come through that week as well. But yeah, more so last week, like the last few days before we played, it was pretty full on. Like had a fair bit of media to do, obviously for the club and AFL and external stuff. But then yeah, a lot of messages coming through. So I was pretty exhausted by the end of it. But yeah, very, very glad and grateful to get to where I got to. But yeah, it was a big week. Felt the love though. It was pretty surreal. Something very cool and I'll always cherish. But yeah, it was a big week.
Yeah, congratulations, mate. And we spoke to Steele on the podcast after that Anzac Day clash, which he starred in. And we spoke to him about the motivations. Now, you've played consecutively for, it's nigh on 12 years now. And it's just a magnificent achievement. But what gets you up every week? Because, you don't have that breather that you do get from time to time with an injury or a layoff. So, yeah, what's getting you out of bed to train and perform at the level that you are performing?
To be honest, I just really love the game. It's probably the major point, I guess. But I'm always thinking of my family and wife and kids and stuff. Like I love doing what I do. I love seeing the joy it brings them and the kids. The culture and environment we've created at Collingwood is pretty amazing at the moment. It's like a second family. So not only to want to play and train really well, but like going into the club, it's pretty fun and special. And everybody loves going into the club, bringing the kids along when we need to. And then the other thing is probably the exciting brand of football that we like to play. The last few years has been really fun. Everyone seems to be really enjoying themselves. It obviously helps when you're winning, but it's just all exciting, the games that we've played in. They all seem to be, quite big and everyone kind of rises to the occasion. But yeah, the enjoyment is right up there.
A couple of the older boys that I've spoken to in Sidey and Pendles have really credited Craig McRae with the way he's been able to handle you old blokes and put faith in you that he wants you to play for as long as possible. Is that a chat that you had with him as well, I guess, when he first started, but ongoing?
Yeah, I guess. Look, he's always got ways to, want to keep experience on the list, I guess. You don't want to, we don't want to go to, say, rebuild phase and all that stuff. I think we're really managing everyone really well. There's a lot of good conversations about if blokes need deloads through the week, or if they need to have kind of a week off, which some people do in the short turnarounds, I guess, and the club's been really good at managing that. But we're able to do that if we're, get a few wins on the board as well. And I think having blokes that come in, have been playing good VFL footy, but come in to play a role and do it really well, shows that we've got a lot of depth, which means we can allow blokes to have a week off, I guess, and rest and make sure their bodies are right. But it'd be a different story if we weren't winning. I suppose we've put ourselves in a good, comfortable position at the moment where the season's gone to be able to do that.
And we spoke about, you spoke before about the motivation of playing and enjoying footy and the importance of your family. What's a day off look like for you and in terms of off seasons, and how do you spend your time, and what sort of things do you get up to outside your football sphere?
Well, if the day off coincides with the two kids in school and Murphy being looked after by a nanny, which is pretty cool, it means I get the whole day to just do what I want, which is handy. But generally I organise some off-site treatment for myself because I like to get extra myotherapy in throughout the week. Even if it is off-season, I love the hands-on treatment. I'm a big advocate for it. Really feel like it helps you go a long way in making sure your body's right. Otherwise, I'm an average golfer. I will get out there maybe once a month, but that's about it. I don't know, it's pretty chill. A lot of house maintenance at the moment because we've only just moved into our new place towards the end of last year, trying to get that fully completed, which would be nice. But yeah, might have a couple of things in the works in the business side of things, but yeah, just make sure you stay tuned to those.
Can you give us a little hint, mate? Can we get
mate,
just a little precursor? Give us a little teaser. What industry what business are we going to be in?
No, you might have to wait and see.
It has to be.
You
It
won't
has to be
surprised.
health and wellness or something,
Yeah.
boys. Because if you want to, it's the proof's in the
Living
pudding.
example.
I've got a couple now. You are a girl dad at home. Talk to me about the moment. Your gorgeous girl said, "Come on, Dad, play that song," and you can talk to us. But Sabrina Carpenter, she's one of the biggest names in the world. Reshared it and got right around you. In fact, even commented on your post.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I was a few beers deep at the time when it happened. We were sitting around the dining table at home. So it was pretty cool. I guess, well, Murphy bloody loves that song. Every day, like 50 times a day, she'd be asking for it. And then, she's just trying to pull me off the ground, like bring me over to the lounge room so she can get it on. And the look on her face is just so cute. Her smile just, you do it for that, for her smile to make her laugh and happy. But yeah, I love being a girl dad. They're very special kids. But yeah, wouldn't change it.
I love it.
It was just pretty crazy.
It is crazy.
Crazy. And I tried to get her to do it again, but didn't reply to me.
Well, she did comment. Well, you're gonna have to make a playlist and see what her next favorite song is. Mate, I just want to go back to the game's record. It's on. Everyone was asking about this one question. They said, "Do you think anyone will ever break your record again?" I would love you to answer that question and answer it with full integrity.
Well, I've heard a lot of people talk on their opinions about it, but it's 11 years of kind of not missing a game and being able to, not sickness, injury, concussion, suspension. Like, there's a lot of factors going to it. A bit of luck is involved, a lot of hard work on my end as well in terms of making sure I'm fit, playing consistent footy, looking after my body. But I'd love to just make it something that no one would break. So I'm going to try and keep going for as long as I can here, and keep preparing myself the same way I do week in, week out. It's what's got me to where I am in my career, and I'll continue to put that best foot forward. So who knows where it will end up. You can probably have that discussion when it finally comes to an end.
You listed all the obstacle and challenges that any AFL player faces, but I think the biggest one for mine is form. Now, for a player like yourself, like to be able to play that well,
with 3 kids and getting the shits.
that's another obstacle. Getting the old diarrhea, which I've been on the wrong side of a few times.
A bit of coming at your mouth at the moment. Sorry, Walt.
No, but your form, even this year, and your ability and your athletic profile, again, it's standing the test of time. So, look, again, this is not really a question, but just a comment on how well you are playing, and if you have the motivation to continue to play, it feels like you've got years left in you.
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. And being able to, I'm playing a bit of a different new role this year as well on the wing, I guess. Not being thrown around as much as I normally do probably helps. The boys in the middle have been doing a really good job. With Ned Long coming in and playing a real contested brand, allows Nick and Steele to kind of a bit more outside run and turn up contest to contest. So I think we've got some good chemistry at the moment. And when the team's playing well, everyone's kind of obviously playing their role, obviously. So form looks good. But yeah, I'm feeling confident in my ability to keep playing my role.
Righto. Take us back to the moment. We need you to run us through it. Steele gets the ball, kicks it inside forward 50. You take it from here.
Yeah, I take a mark, and then the siren goes. I'm thinking, fuck.
No, that's raw and that's real.
No, I was, but got a knock in the back too. I was on the ground, then everyone's like cheering, people coming up to me. This is childhood dreams and all that jazz, and then people go and just go through your routine. I thought I remained pretty calm, which is cool. Umpire says, make sure you don't go off your line, kick it over the man on the mark. So I was like, sweet. But I probably should have, I still had a little bit of arc when I'm kicking from that distance. So I could have probably gone to a step to the right and then come around over him. But again, I didn't want him to call play on and ruin it. But yeah, came on, got my routine going. Felt pretty confident because that's my distance. And then, left the boot straight right. And I'm thinking, that was my moment.
I love
But
that.
imagine that. Been cool. Would have been
Oh,
so cool.
mate.
Fairy tale ending.
It would have
But I blew
been.
it.
Well, it's still an iconic moment. It just would have had the little exclamation mark on it, but don't worry about it. I love the fact that Fly after said you can lose a game but still win, and he highlighted the way that the boys, and probably testament to you as a bloke, got around you, but also the Geelong boys. That was a really lovely moment, I thought, considering what had just gone on.
Yeah, and I said after the game to Fox, I think it was, and I sent a message to Fly as well, but, that kind of stuff just, brings a tear to your eye. Like, I was already emotional anyway, like, after a big week. Missed the kick, like, feeling a bit flat, but, everyone getting around you like that just, makes you that happy, and you can feel the connection and you can feel the love, even from, Geelong as well, as you said. So, it just shows where we're at as a football club, the relationships that we've built. It's a good place to be.
What did Danger come over and said a few words to you? Do you remember what he said?
He said congrats on the record, mate. Obviously bad luck on the miss, and then he was asking about how many house renos are going because he loves following that.
A couple of house reno
Mate, he might
combos
be-
after the goal.
He's a mover and a shaker. He'd be probably trying
he
to
loves it.
wheel
He
and
loves
deal
that
a
stuff.
business deal out of you there.
That's amazing work from Danger. Just on him, he's flying, isn't he? Like, did you boys talk about how he just wound the clock back in the last quarter?
Yeah, we did mention it, and he's just, I don't know, he broke through probably a couple more tackles. He broke through everyone's tackles. He's not meant to be doing that. You see him coming, and you're like, I just got to kind of brace up here and do my best to tackle him. But I think he still put some baby oil on the arm, so it makes it a bit slippery.
We loved a bit of baby oil. Well, mate, I can't thank you enough for jumping on, and you know how much we love your work. And everyone, I don't think that record will be broken, by the way, mate. It never will. And hope you get to 300. That's what we want. We want 300 now.
500,
That's the line we
550.
have here at PointsBet. But mate, thank you so much for joining us. Go easy on my Dockers, mate.
Flog
Go
'em.
easy on
Flog
them.
'em.
They were horrific last week, and they need to
Flog 'em.
bounce back. So, but all the best, mate. And thank you so much for joining the Aces AFL show.
You're right. Thanks for having me, guys. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, mate.
All right, boys, let's get back on track. That's what we have from last week. It's now round 9, and there are some blockbuster games, and we're kicking off with a little bit of pooch. It could be pooch or it could be amazing, but Fremantle should not be on television for the rest of the year if they do not rock up this week. The Dockers boys, I love them. They're my team, but I need to see you boys fire up. You're $1.80 here with PointsBet. They're taking on the Pies and Jack Crisp. And as you said, they've rested a few. I've got a few things here from Statmate, who is your best mate when it comes to building a multi or arming yourself with everything you need to know about the game of footy. If you haven't, download on the App Store. But they have a couple of people that just love this one. And Andy Brayshaw, 30 disposals in all of his last 4 against the Pies. And Josh Dacos has hit 25 plus disposals in now 7 matches in a row. You want a little bit more juice, you can get $2.15 with PointsBet 30. Boys, who is going to break this one down? Or are we just going to quickly talk? No one's going to break it down, but let's just quickly talk about it. Your tip and who you think will win.
Oh, it's too hard to go past Collingwood. Look, they had a little slip up last week with the first loss in probably 6 or 7 rounds, 6 in a row. So I reckon they'll get that done quite easily. Freo have just got too far to move within a week. There was no signs of anything. No one standing up in any of the quarter time, half time, 3/4 time break. So I just think that they're going to be overwhelmed by Collingwood. It'll be a low-scoring affair over there, but stay tuned. My profit propeller bet is in this game. I know it's a Thursday night, so I'm putting.
You go Thursday night in the propeller.
I am.
I thought we banned that.
We did ban that, but we've unbanned
You
it.
can't be going first leg again, Wal, when you've just let the team down last week.
I put a memo out.
Do you boys understand how serious we're taking the propeller? We have
do.
8 teams on the graveyard.
Yeah, and I've done my research, and I think there's going to be a response from this individual, but I'll hold my tongue.
Okay.
But I don't think that his heroic efforts is going to be enough to get over the line. So Collingwood in a close one.
Okay. I think Collingwood in a close one too. Fremantle will turn it around. They will find something. They did against the Crows when they took them on their home patch. They're a different side over there. But I think Collingwood's brand is literally suitable to one man in, one man out, regardless of those 4 names that aren't playing and just under 1,000 games experience left over here in Victoria. The Pies in a close one for me.
I'm taking a weird one. I'll tell you what, I've had some bad beats. We're talking NBA. I don't know if you boys watch the NBA. We've got the Aces NBA show. If you haven't tuned in, please tune in. It's a cracker. We've got Thanasi Kokonakis there, Jeff Goebbels and Pete Hawley who feature.
Holy dolly.
But there's been upsets everywhere. And I'm tipping. What's the opposite of tipping the house down?
No, you're not backing a winner, so you can't back the car out the driveway.
Yeah, something like that.
Yep.
It's been ugly. So I'm going to go with what shouldn't happen, and it's Fremantle to win because I can't get near it. But they have to respond. And the only reason I'm doing this is because I have seen them play well, and the short turnaround. People forget about how hard footy is, but the blockbuster game that Crispy just spoke about, that was Saturday night. They would have walked off the track at 10:30 p.m. So Freo have a couple more days in them. I know they travel, but Collingwood have to travel over there.
Players from Freo that are going to make a difference.
Well, clearly Sarong and Brayshaw will respond. I don't think the Pies tag, even if Ned Long goes to one of them. It's a long day at the office, and then Bolton has to respond, and so does that forward line. The forward line, obviously, they were starved of entries, but I'd expect way more pressure. There was no pressure. The back line, I think the back line held their own to a certain extent, but when the ball's coming in every 2 minutes, you do run out of juice. So the midfield, which is the engine, you got the two ruckmen, all that pressure around Sean Darcy, Luke Jackson, I think you'll see a huge response from the midfield engine at Fremantle.
The lowest under-over of the round, 160.5.
That's 80 points either side. Look, I don't really like the over-unders traditionally, but after last week, you think that might be too high, especially if Freo can make it a slog. And you said they kick long down the line and they're very boring. I can't see them changing their game plan in a week, but the midfield battle is the one. And I was going to have Sarong as my propeller bet for 30, but he's been crunched into $1.70 or $1.80, so I can't take him. So I've avoided that one.
We need to make sure our friends at StatMate don't put these out there until after the pod.
Yeah, well said.
Thank you.
All right, let's get to a couple more. But there's some cracker games. That's your Thursday night football. You know what? We probably should have done a live stream for that one, but we'll maybe do that later in the year, boys. If you're around, let's try and tee that up. Daisy, you are going to be covering the Saints and the Blues Spuds game. This one's very important. This is your must watch, and it is a very important game. You've got Saints sitting 10th and Carlton 13th. Take it away.
Yes, obviously the Spuds game, as you touched on. So if you are watching along, just text a mate and check in with them, see how they are going, because we are doing and continuing to create awareness and raise awareness around men's mental health especially. This is going to be an interesting game because I could see this going 5 of 4 different ways, if that makes any sense, with Ross Lyon pulling levers here, Michael Voss doing this, and it's all culminating in potentially the roof getting blown off in some sort of stink fest. But I could also see it being a high-scoring affair where the Blues just torch it through the middle and the Saints take it on as well. The Blues have to do something different to what they did against the Crows. It was nearly the perfect blueprint comparatively to the stats, what St Kilda did and what the Crows did. So if the Blues can learn their lessons there, I think they should be able to work their way through it. Zero confidence in what is going to happen in this one, but I think it will be a Carlton win. Because if it isn't, she's nearly season over.
Well said. Yeah, like we said, you can't trust them. And that's 2 teams you can't trust on prime time television. And Daisy, you'll be covering that one.
Yeah.
Who's the player that you expect to explode? I just think that we're talking about we love the players.
Paddy Cripps.
Paddy Cripps is due for a big one. They'll obviously run a tag. But there's a guy called Wilkie who plays for St Kilda. And I reckon he might be the most underrated player in the AFL. He seems to put him to sleep every week. So whoever he's playing on, I'll take the other big forward to kick a bag.
Mate, yeah, I'm trying to think of who you can find some value. Maybe Sammy Walsh. I think he's got the running
back in the pack.
Ross might run with him as well.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's got the running ability to go with him.
He's still what Ross used to always do is take away the person that can hurt you with their legs. So I think you can't really tag Cripps. I wouldn't be surprised.
Head-to-head with Steele?
Yeah, I'd imagine head-to-head, go to stoppage, but we don't want you, when Cripps gets it and he handballs it to the next guy, that's the guy he always wants to take out. And I reckon Walsh might be the guy they want to tag.
Okay, I like it. Good insight.
Well, you have a massive game to break down. There's obviously the D's playing the Hawks. We'll see what happens there. Clayton Oliver, there's a few rumours that he might not be playing. We'll wait and see. And our man, Benny the Butler, I'll give Benny the Butler a shout out. He has given me a little juicy one, and I want to bring it up because I thought it's actually very good, but we don't know what the teams are as we record this one. But he's found a little loophole, and I thought this is your chance to shine. He has found a little loophole in the market. Cade Chandler, he goes on ball when the great man's not there, and for 20 disposals, he's paying $7. $7 for Cade Chandler on the PointsBet app. So, look, monitor that one. I don't know what the teams are doing, but if he goes on ball like he did when Clayton didn't play, $7 for 20 is enormous.
dabble a little bit on that.
That's
wouldn't you?
very
Anyway, I've
kind
gone
of-
off track there. All right, well, the showdown. This one is massive. Saturday night, Port Adelaide 12th, taking on Adelaide Crows, who are 5th. The Port just coming off the flogging against the Dogs, and the Crows looking very nice. In fact, our man Jordan Dawson.
Oh,
But yeah, Showdown 57. Let's get back on track. Big game. This is always a massive game for Adelaide and Port in their own hometown. Zach Butters won the Showdown medal last game.
What a king.
What a king he is.
He's Daisy's man.
Yeah, he's
Daisy,
Daisy's
I
man.
picked up that's Daisy's man. Even on every, I know Daisy's on Triple M, he's on 7, but when it comes to Butters, that's his man.
Did a little bit of the funny feeling in there.
A little tingle.
Yeah.
Little tingle.
Oh, boy.
Oh boy, how were we? But Port won that game back in August last year, and that was a game that Dan Houston knocked out Isaac Rankin and got the 5 weeks. So I know he's no longer playing for them, but there is still spice, and that's what we love about the game. From a statistical point of view, we touched on Adelaide, how they dismantled Carlton. They won every statistic, an important statistic that is, bar tackles against Carlton. And like you said, the skipper was back to his best with 3 goals. But it's about the three-headed monster for mine. So Walker, Fogarty and Thorpe. I've nearly stuffed that one again. Whether they can fire and kick a score, because they score very heavily at this ground. And I reckon Rankin is prime for the big stage, and I reckon he will be the tip to take down the Showdown medal. So it's interesting. It was Daisy's number 1. Well, they were Daisy's number 1 on the ranking system a couple of weeks ago.
They're on their way back, baby.
They're on the way back with a big win. And if we turn the page over to Port, wowee. Adelaide won every stat. Well, Port lost every stat against the Bulldogs. They were absolutely annihilated by my old mob. It was the second time, as I mentioned before, that they were beaten by 90 points in the year, but they did bounce back. So been a big week for that club, especially we haven't touched on the Willie Rioli.
We won't, because we're the Players Club.
Well, the Players
Yeah,
Club,
but
but
it
they've
is a
got some play
distraction.
for. It is a distraction. There's a lot going on, but it's a big week for the town. It always produces something special, this Showdown. So I think it'll be won or lost in the midfield, because if Adelaide can either draw even or get their upper hand, I think their scoring power is just going to overwhelm them. But if Port can win the stoppage and contest the ball, I feel like they're going to go a long way to being competitive and hopefully winning the game. So I don't think that'll happen. I think Adelaide will win comfortably, but it'll produce some fireworks. It'll produce something special.
Well said, Wal. And I love it when you predict something and as our friends at StatMate back it up. Like we said, StatMate's your best mate when it comes to building a multi. Download it on the App Store if you haven't. But they have Isaac Rankin. He's kicked 2 goals in all of his last 3 showdowns, and he's currently 330 for 2 goals on the PointsBet app. And I'm just starting to think I've got to play it in this game for my propeller later on. I'm starting to think that why would I go against our friends at StatMate
Well, you shouldn't.
and
'Cause they are
your
your
prediction
best,
for the
mate.
medal? Do they have someone that can stop Rankin if he plays more forward? The only concern I have is if he plays too much midfield time. Because I saw Dawson last week, our man Geordie, he went forward and he was down there a little bit longer than normal. And I reckon they might do that again. We don't know. And that would mean Izzy would be back in the midfield. So
I think he's most dangerous playing forward, Rankin, and then coming up as that high half forward. And if you want to inject him into the game, that's when you put him in the midfield. So from that point of view, 2 goals is value. I reckon he'll start there. I think they're going to have enough control through the Crouches in there, through Matty Crouch in there.
the Crouches.
The Crouches. Fuck,
Boy, that was 4 years ago.
Blast in the past. They're going to have enough control in the midfield. So I reckon he'll start forward, and if he can hit the scoreboard early, he'll be set to stay there for the majority of the game.
When I look at this round's footy, I reckon I could see nearly every game being decided by 2 kicks or less.
Exactly what I thought last week, Daisy, and it didn't happen. I thought
You didn't say it last week. I'm going to officially put it out there because there are, even if you roll to the very bottom of the page, it's North Melbourne taking on Brisbane.
That could
It's
be closer than you think.
Ninja Stadium. 2 goals is probably a stretch there, but I think it'll be closer.
That's a
than,
Hobart job.
yeah, Ninja.
You got to be careful because it's even with the Suns Dogs. You think, oh yeah, well guess where that one is?
Darwin.
Darwin. There's a few different ones there this week. So well said.
So what have you gone with your must watch?
Well, my must watch this week, I've chopped and changed, but I thought this is the most important game. I was going to say Giants and Geelong, but I thought, no, this one's more important. It's the Suns taking on the Dogs in Darwin. And the reason I say that is I thought the Suns were disappointing last week against the Lions. And big shout out to Josh Dunkley, Lockie Neal, Ashcroft. But that they showed them that you want to talk about, beating up the big brother. You need to have players that play a role. Like Matty Rowell, like he was humbled by Josh Dunkley. One of the most powerful kind of guys on the ground, kept to in a real wet game. I thought he would be one of the ball, winners for the on the ground and have 30 and just be a contested beast. But Josh Dunkley and the boys said, hey, don't forget we won the premiership last year, and they really gave him a little lesson. But what I loved about the Suns is they hung in there. I reckon in the past they get blown out, and they hung in there and they actually fought it out, and I was really impressed by that. So I think this week against the Dogs, who are flying, this will tell us who is the team out of these two. As Suns, is it this? Honestly, I feel like if the Suns win this, they will be playing finals this year and they will be a threat. But if they can't rock up and beat the Dogs in Darwin, where they play really well, I reckon you've got to start to have a couple of question marks on them and say, I think we've gone a little bit early on them, like we did with Freo, top 4 hopes and whatnot. So I'm actually going to tip the Suns.
Yes, me too.
I think they can respond, and I reckon there's a few lessons. They are a young group, so I really believe in them. I know you do, Daisy, and while I know you'll be going for the Dogs, but I think this is an opportunity for the Suns to sneak one, and they just play so well up there. I'm really interested to see.
It'll be interesting because you've got to dampen the confidence of the Dogs. They're running hot at the minute with their midfield, with their forward. We had Tim English play his best game for, a couple of seasons, kicking 3 goals and 17 score involvements,
17. Wow.
if you don't mind. So it'll be a really big game for the Gold Coast to try and stem that confidence early on and make it a bit of a shit fight early. And like you said, if they come to play and get it done, it goes for a long way for their reputation for the rest of the year because, as you mentioned, the 6 teams that they've beaten aren't the quality sides that we sort of look for the top 4 teams to beat.
And it's different footy up there, and that's what the Suns do really well. They love it when it's really dewy and hot and just humid and sweaty, and it's just slippery pill. So I think the Suns can get the chocolates, and it's a must-watch for me, boys. You talk about must-watches. You're skipping over Essendon and Sydney. That you'd think that would be very tight. You go down to the day after on Sunday, and you got Richmond playing Eagles. We probably should talk about that. Just a quick tip: West Coast on the road. I couldn't believe it. They haven't won a game yet.
Let's not talk about this game.
Just give us a tip, though.
A draw.
A draw might be not a bad little go. A draw might not be the worst.
Nah, Richmond have won 2 games, and they're on the home deck. They'll win. Eagles they're fighting a losing battle.
Well, if Richmond win this game, everyone that said they wouldn't win 2.5 at the start of the year, they would have done that before.
I said they wouldn't win a game, and that wasn't being a salacious headline. That was just my thought.
Yeah, well, this is why this is big, because they will go to 15th on the ladder, and West Coast will sit down there with 9 games and 0 wins. So hopefully they can get and sing their song soon, because there's nothing worse than being in that position. Boys, we have a list. We skipped over it before, but we obviously spoke to Crispy about the shot after the siren. But then what we did was we thought, well, if he had kicked it, he would have been an absolute hero, and he already is with his game. But it would have been one of the best moments we've ever seen. But there have been some unbelievable moments after the siren, and we've been lucky enough to have one of them send a little message in to Crispy and the boys who have had that moment and missed. Let's take a look at Billy Brownless.
Sorry, boys. I've just got to get involved here. Of course, you're talking about great goals after the siren. Well, mine was in a final, of course, 70 metres out. Siren's gone. We need a goal to win. A point will only draw, and you've got to have composure. You've got to have composure. You've got to have the mental attitude. That's it, mental attitude. And you could have ice running through the veins to kick a goal after the siren in a final. So that's the best you've ever seen. The monkeys off the back, Billy.
Well, you've got a list of the after the siren kings. Can you give us a little bit of a...
actually, before I go, is there one, because this is going back the last 20 years, is there one in your of the playing days or prior to that that sticks out in your memory?
David Mundy for me. But I didn't.
Did he do it a couple of times?
He did it in a game I actually missed, and then he got the kick after, but it wasn't after the siren.
Was that against Richmond?
Yeah, it was just that he beat Richmond with that kick, and then the next year, unfortunately, I didn't play that, so I was watching on tally. He did have it after the siren, I'll never forget it. Aaron Sandland's Lockie Neal, centre square clearance. They had, you could flood the back line. They had about 9 or 10 down there, and he
Right forward pocket.
on the lead. Yep. And then Siren goes and flushed it with the Asics. Had the Asics on the old career savers.
The old career savers.
That's one, but Lloyd's one was, I thought
Lloyd.
was quite
there's a couple
inspiring.
here. Now, I'll mention a couple, and there's a clear number one for mine, which
I
I'll
think I
leave.
know which it is.
Yeah, I'll keep that till the end. But
Mine in under 16s.
it was. So, you're in under 16s, did
Have
you
you,
say?
actually,
Yeah,
just
it
on
was.
that, have you guys ever had one?
Nah.
Oh, I've never had a shot or a chance.
Nah. I've kicked a lot of clutch ones with a couple of minutes to go.
I'm real Captain Courageous at
Yeah.
2 minutes to
Have you
go.
really? Tell us how you really used to go.
What about on the field?
How long we got, he said. How long we got.
It's 135.
No, but I've got a handful here, and then there's a clear number one for mine, which
Give us the top 5.
top 5. Yeah, so Luke Shuey,
Free kick too high.
free
Port
kick to
Adelaide.
high.
Free-
Yep, that
Final?
was final. So that was a final to send them into the next week, which was massive. Jordan Dawson, the Showdown.
Oh, that was his first showdown.
That was his first Showdown. He kicked it. It didn't come off the boot very nice.
Talking of the selflessness of what Matty Kennedy did the other day and should have just, if Riley Westfoot was sore. That wasn't Dawson's free kick, was it?
No.
Someone played the old concussion card and Dawson's wandered over and said, I got this, boys.
Yes, but he did. He kicked the goal, and it just didn't look like going in, and it just angled in quite nicely. Jamie Elliott against Essendon,
Yes,
that was a
that was
clutch
unreal.
goal. And then you talk about the vision.
That's as clutch as it gets.
That is as clutch as it gets, and he's done it a couple of times.
Yeah.
In clutch. Coming at number 2 is Tommy Hawkins. Now, Geelong,
Curse.
Geelong versus Hawthorn. Look, it was an amazing game. That one, high scoring. Kicked it from outside 50, and you talk about flushed it. Wow, it was on the trajectory up when it went through the goalpost.
If you ever watch that game back, Paul Puopolo, the ball's up the other end and he goes for a miracle scissor kick out of the air that doesn't score, goes across the face of goal, and the Cats
Keeps
transition
it in
at the length of the ground.
Can you imagine Clarko's
I can.
Monday review?
Yes.
Wow. And that culminates in our number 1. I've heard of the miracle on ice, but this might have been the miracle on grass. It was Brisbane versus Geelong.
Oh, yeah.
Ash McGrath.
This is crazy.
The plus 40-point comeback. And again, I think.
Was it a milestone game for him as well?
Was it a milestone or his birthday?
No, it was his milestone.
Was it?
Yeah, milestone
Might have been
game.
birthday as well. And
Yeah.
Santa came.
And came home the bunny.
No mayo either.
But that particular one, that's a clear number 1 for what how the quarter played out.
Yeah.
The Cats definitely put the cue in the rack, so to speak, and then to play it out in the last 5 seconds, Simon Black was pivotal in that last play through the middle. And to kick that goal, they are my top 5 goal
That's
after
great.
Sirens.
Did you give Jack Nunes a mention then?
Yeah, I didn't, but that was a big that was a big goal too.
I love how you said, yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't.
Nunes' goal was
not my list,
clutch. And Dave Mundy, he actually missed a goal against Geelong not long after. He had a chance down at the Cattery to kick a game winner and he missed. But he's had the experience of kicking one and missing one, which is pretty rare to have those moments, isn't it? Like we said, none of you boys have had the opportunity at any level. Imagine being at AFL and doing it. So there you go. Hopefully we see a couple more this weekend. Boys, you know what time it is?
Tell me.
It's time for the Profit Propeller. And you need a lift, fellas.
Oh, bullshit.
You
Come
need
on.
a lift.
Go away.
We're going to get a little, a little something going on. Get our little, I think Statmate might even just get up our stats on the Propeller, but it's been poor.
Putting the jumpers back. We need good juju.
Yeah, bring
Good
the
juju,
juju
yeah.
back. While you're bringing the juju back after you stole a couple of jerseys, mind you, they'd go for a bit, Jordan Dawson and Jack Crisp.
Yeah, end of your trip.
Well, you kick us off, but
Yep.
please, I know you're going to go to the Thursday night game, but are you sure?
I'm sure.
Are you sure? Because
I'm sure.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I love it.
And I want to provide some
There's
cash
many
to a local
forms
football
of
club.
courage, Tom, and every now and then you got to decide, do I stand for something or do I stand for nothing? And Waller's decided this week that he's going to stand to kicking it off on a Thursday night. I love everything about it. You put your plums on the line, son, and you better deliver.
Oh,
Here we go. I'm going to run through a wall.
Wrapped you up to give us a win. I don't know what will.
So, yes, I'll take you to Thursday night.
Yes.
We've got Freo hosting the Pies. Now, we mentioned about return to form. So
Yes.
big players need to step up. Sidebottom. Now, the dreaded possession market, the touches market, I'm going for him to go 20 plus. And it doesn't stink because
He had 7 last week.
he had a shocker.
Oh, you're going to go
That'll
with
take him
Thursday night
It'll take
football.
him 3 weeks to get that many at this rate.
I love doubters and I love proving them wrong, but
Yes,
he's got
good
value
boy.
at $2.15 for 20 plus. I think that His coach
Yes,
is going to throw him in the midfield quite early.
they have to give him
for
the ball.
spark. They need to give him the ball. He's their best user. He's most creative on their team. So why not? Why not get him?
He had 22 against Adelaide the week prior. So
Thank you, Tom.
That's not
Yeah,
too
so
bad.
Look at the
form.
evidence that's behind us. No, but I reckon he'll respond. And 20 is not out of his realm. And look, it is a $2.15 bet, so there is some value there.
Yeah.
I just think a response. I think Freo will respond, and it'll be off his shoulders, getting around the ball more and using his talents and skills with ball in hand.
We like that. So that's 2.15. I'm going to the Sydney Essendon game, and I'm going to class as well. Isaac Henry, as I sent it through in the group today when I was flicking it through as the old voice note. Isaac Heaney to kick 2 or more. You're going to have $2.50. $2.50.
Juice on that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So he will be doing it.
Kick a goal, though.
No, mate, he knows where that.
Grew
I
up in the
wouldn't be
forward line.
surprised. I was nearly going to put him right out there and say 3 or more, but I'll just keep it calm with the 2. So go, Isaac, go.
All right, boys. I'm stuck. I'm going to the Showdown. I'm going to Walls must watch. But I'm a bit lost.
Wow.
I've got my bet locked in, but after the stat mate telling me what they just told me, which is Isaac Rankin's kicked 2 in the last 3 showdowns, and it's sitting there at 3.30, which is so much juice for a local football club. I don't know what to do. The other guy I have is Riley Thilthorpe for 3. Big key forward.
Filthy.
Do I back myself in?
Oh, you got to back the stat mate in there. Your best mate when it comes to building a multi.
No, I know.
Well,
they
come
are
on.
very good.
You did do the opposite of what you thought with Freo v Collingwood.
You're right.
You went against your gut. Are you going to continue to make
You know
that a
what,
trend
you're
for the
right.
rest of the year?
Are you going to stand for something
gonna
or stand for
something,
nothing?
mate?
You're
You're
right.
gonna
I'm going to go with myself. I'm going to back myself in. I love
dear.
stat mate, but geez, I'm going to look like a mug if he kicks 2 and the big boy doesn't
And he wins
kick
the
3.
Showdown medal.
Is he gonna
Yeah,
win
it's
this? Oh, do you reckon?
Nah, stick to your guns, mate. Stick to your guns.
Yeah, well done.
I'm torn. These stat mate stats coming through. They're red hot as well. I do need to stand for something after that speech, and I'm going to stick with my guns. I thought about this all night last night and today. So Riley Thilthorpe for 3 goals in the Showdown, the big boy in the goal square. We just need 3 from the big liver king, Riley Thilthorpe. He needs to eat some Sharons for me up there. I need him to kick. I need him to kick 3 after that because that's going to kill me if he kicks 2 and Rankin kicks 2.
Let's spin
No,
it,
let's
Lol.
spin it.
You
All
can
right.
spin it this week. I'm holding it.
Who spun it last week?
I've spun it the last 2.
All right, we've been talking enough shit. It's been an amazing show. Big shout out to Ollie Dempsey, Gary Ablett, and Jack Crisp. It's now time for our favourite segment. It is the Profit Propeller. It is round 9. And make sure you're out of the shot. Make sure you hold it. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and she's off. The Profit Propeller spinning. This week's winner will be the Marupna Cats.
Nah, there's cash coming your way, Marupna.
Oh,
Don't
there's
let us down.
cash coming the Cats' way. I think that is us done. There's been a lot in this show, as we said. If you're just tuning in, which you wouldn't be because it's the end. It was a massive show. Ollie Dempsey and Gary Ablett Jr. And we also had Jack Cripps join us, plus a little video from Billy Brownless just telling him how to do it after his unbelievable shot after the siren. Daisy, while you're always on fire, the Marupna Cats, I'm going to call you very soon. Let's get the Profit Propeller home. Boys, have a great week. And thanks to everyone that tunes in. I really appreciate your support. Hit the subscribe button, like, share this with a mate. And remember, if you also love your NBA, we have a brand new show, the Aces NBA Show, with Thanasi Kokonakis, Jeff Goebbels, and Pete, the Pistol Hooley, that has just gone live the last couple of weeks. And we're going to be following the finals action. But this is all about AFL, and there's plenty to talk about next week, no doubt. See you right here, same time on Oz American Aces.
You need your bodyguard to be quick. And Gas is as quick as they come. Still, he's not as quick as a PointsBet app where I can place my same game multi before he's had a chance to even... We'll call that a draw.
It's never been quicker to piece together an NBA same-game multi with PointsBet.
Memories.
PointsBet, built different. You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.